L3Harris has successfully completed the preliminary design review for its upcoming missile tracking satellite, which marks a significant milestone in its development, of course. The satellite is part of the U.S. Space Force's effort to enhance missile detection and tracking from space, designed to detect hypersonic and ballistic missile threats. The satellite is going to be providing real-time data to different defense systems. The completion of the PDR, preliminary design review, indicates that the satellite's design meets all its technical requirements and is ready for the manufacturing phase here. L3Harris aims to deliver this satellite on schedule, which we love stuff that's on schedule. So it'll be good.
The preliminary design review is confirming that L3Harris's space vehicles meet the development requirements. These satellites are designed to detect, track, target hypersonic threats. And the fact that this PDR was completed in 11 months, and there's now a contract for 18 of these as part of the ongoing support that L3Harris is providing for the proliferated warfighter space architecture, which is a constellation of satellites in low Earth orbit. I'm going to say that all of that in mind, number one for me, and I'm sure Andrew's going to argue, is design. I mean, having this preliminary design review is fantastic, but it's still one of the first steps. You've got to get these designed. You've got to get these things built.
Well, why am I surprised you're stuck in the CAD room again? There you go. Design is clearly part of the critical thread, therefore has to be important. But, and it's a big but, if these satellites can't function in extremely low orbit conditions, they're going to be expensive kind of cosmic paperweights. So to support that PWSA, I think they need to enhance the whole missile detection and tracking on a global scale, not just looking good on paper. So I think it goes in a little bit before design for me.
See, I'd argue that the functionality you're talking about here is part of design. I'll admit I can see where you're coming from. But you've got to ensure that your end functionality is all part of the design process, which means you've got to know what you're doing in the end, build those requirements into the design, track them, ensure they're correct, and not just the physical aspects. So this is something that has to work in space, but it also has to be able to do the functions of tracking, targeting, all that kind of stuff. So you've got your physical product, you've got the functionality of it, and all of this has to be built in as requirements into that design process.
So I think what happened there, Greg, just as the moderator, Brian slid nicely into my number one challenge. I don't know if you noticed him do that.
I did. Yeah. I did notice that. He starts with design and then.
And it's the requirements. Exactly.
Yeah,
so it's functional requirements, that data security, that real-time communication. We need to nail down requirements management first. So that to me is the number one. And Brian came here as well. So it's good to see we're all in sync with those as well.
That's true.
So requirements gathering and traceability, it's the first thing we do, capture all those data security requirements, link them to satellite development, know how they need to communicate and with what, establish the traceability from those requirements to satellite design, include communication protocols, the integration points, all within that whole PWSA constellation.
And design and change management include everything you just talked about into your design to figure out how to have function with orbit.
Okay, I'm with you. Now your DNCM's coming in. I agree. But after that, we would then bring in the whole product validation and simulation. So making sure that those low orbit simulations are there to validate secure functioning, secure transmission, and making sure that the satellite's ability to integrate with PWSA, making sure you've got that seamless functionality with the larger constellation as well. See you next week.